Okay, the reason why you're watching this is you've watched all the YouTube videos on how to fix a frayed cable off a MacBook charging cable. And the method is to use heat shrink, which is nothing new. But the challenge is how to get the heat shrink over this base. And so the method we're going to use today involves chopsticks. So we're going to go ahead and pick up your chopsticks, get a heat source and your heat shrink, and we'll get started right away. All right, we're going to go over how to fix a frayed MacBook cable using chopsticks. So the idea is you're going to use heat shrink. I got this from Harbor Freight Tools, and the one that's this size fits over the head just fine. But the problem is if it's too large, then when it gets to here and you shrink it, it's not going to be tight enough to get on the cable itself. So this is going to be too wide. The next smallest one is going to be too small. And so the idea is you're going to have to stretch this out. And the idea is if you stretch this out such that it fits over the head as opposed to using a larger one, then when it shrinks, it'll be tighter to the cable. So how you do that is the method that we're going to go over right now. And that is using chopsticks. So you go ahead and get some wooden chopsticks, and you will stick one end into the heat shrink like this. And the next one, you're going to wedge that in there as well. And the technique here is you're literally just going to spread it apart like that, gently. The heat shrink won't break. It's mostly the chopsticks that'll snap. So this is my second pair here. So you're going to go ahead and just stretch that, and you're going to twist it, stretch it, twist it, stretch it. You're going to keep doing that until it's wide enough. So I've done this already. So we're going to go ahead and see if that works. But basically we're going to go ahead and slip that on here so that it just barely is snug against there. So the challenge is how do you slide this down? So the trick here is you're going to go ahead and twist this. So if you twist this, I do it clockwise, you can see it slowly get further and further down. So you twist it. So rather than pushing it straight this way, you're twisting it and pushing it, kind of like a corkscrew motion here. So I'm continuing to twist it. You're not going to want to watch a few minutes of me doing this, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this all down, and then we'll continue the video. So as you progress with this, at some point you're going to find the base of the cable in here with some extra heat shrink here and here. As you get further down in this direction, it's harder to twist. So what you're going to do is you're going to break your chopstick open so that you just have one, and you're going to stick this in the hole here so that you can push down against the base of the charging cable. And that'll give you leverage. So with the chopstick, I'm pushing this way, and again with the heat shrink, I'm twisting in that direction. So it's been a couple minutes. As you can imagine, this takes quite a while, but you're gonna keep on doing this, and right when you're about to give up, it'll work. So keep it going. Got another few millimeters to go. So again, I'm pushing to the right with the chopstick in that direction, and then this I'm twisting down in that direction. So it looks like we got about 2 millimeters left. But again, twisting motion and pushing with the chopstick. And there we go. So at that point, you can ditch the chopstick, go and pull that down, and we're gonna go ahead and use the heat shrink, put some heat source down here, and then we'll cover that up and we'll be good to go. Here we are, Dollar Tree is your best friend, so we're gonna open this up. Okay, so considering the size of the heat shrink was close to this, enough to cover that head, I think we did pretty good. So there is a gap there. It's not going to be completely snug. Again, you should keep the flame away from the stock insulation as much as you can so you don't get that burn mark. I wanted to avoid heating up this end too much just because I don't want to get this part too hot, because in here is a chip, and I don't know how much protection this metal part provides against heating that chip, so I don't want to put too much heat on there. But as far as this is concerned, this is the outcome. So after I finished up, I found that this gets a little bit loose. So although I've done it this way, I would advise that if you're doing it at home, that when we have the heat shrink around this base, that you keep maybe 2 millimeters of it, just enough where you can still see the light when it's charged, and cover that part up. And that'll keep this end snug, because we know this is going to be loose due to it just not being able to shrink as tight. So if you can have this tight at least, then you'll be in better shape than in this situation where it's kind of twisted. So again, keep the base on rather than pulling it all the way to where you see here, and then heat shrink it so that it's overlapped this base by maybe 2 millimeters. So good luck, and then if you have a different method of doing that, different nuances, go ahead and leave a comment below. But as far as expanding the heat shrink large enough to fit over the head, I think that chopstick idea might help some of you. All right, take care.